Krishna, allow your eyes to gently close. And as the eyes close, as the lids of the eyes come down, allow also the lids of our senses, not only of sight, but all of our senses. Allow that curtain to drop for them all. So that all of the senses pull inward. And allow yourself to find a position or surda jisko barado thoda sa. Allow yourself to find a position in which you're comfortable, not rigid, but straight, and in which the body can be still without moving. Allow that stillness to come to the body. Drawing all the awareness inward. The sounds, the sensations, they just drift ever so lightly across our consciousness, but they don't disrupt our awareness that's focused inward. Draw that awareness to the breath. And allow yourself to begin by watching the breath. With full attention, full awareness. As it flows in and it flows out. And notice how through simple awareness the breath deepens and slows. Don't force it, but allow that to happen under the eye of your awareness. And slowly, as you're watching the breath, slowly allow that watcher of the breath to merge into the breath itself. So instead of there being a watcher and a breather, allow that awareness to just merge into the breath. So slowly there becomes nothing but breathing. There is no watcher. There is no watched. There's just breath. And as that breath is flowing, as it's flowing from the outside to the inside on the inhalations, and from the inside to the outside on the exhalations, allow that cycle to become so smooth without any movement in the body at all, merging the awareness so fully into the breath that those borders between outer and inner dissolve. There's no longer an outer. There's no longer an inner. There's just breathing and complete awareness. If the mind wanders, just bring it back gently to the breath. Allow the inner to become outer, the outer to become inner, with just this wave of the breath and your total awareness. Slowly bring the palms of your hands together at chest level. And rub the palms gently against each other. Press the palms of the hands into the closed eyes. Lower the hands and open the eyes. Welcome to Satsang. How do I know if I'm on the right path? Well, I assume that the path in question is the spiritual path. There's a lot of paths in life. But when we're talking about a spiritual path, there isn't one right way of getting there. If you want to walk the path to Delhi, it's simple. As long as you know Delhi is south, if you've got a compass, keep walking south. Eventually you're going to get there or near there at least. But on a spiritual path, there isn't one way. There's innumerable ways. One of the dilemmas, in fact, comes with people thinking this is the only way, my way is the right way. There isn't one right way. As many people as there are walking spiritual paths, there's as many right ways. But so then, of course, how do you know? Because we know that the right way is not the way of ego. We know it's not the way of illusion or attachment. We know what's not the right way. So how do you know? You know by checking yourself every day and asking yourself, are you closer to where you wanted to get? And there are markers. Most of us think of markers as like, I'm halfway there. Or I finished, level 1, now I'm ready for level 2. Most of us think about it like that. And those markers, of course, don't exist. There is no level 1 or level 2. There is no halfway there. But what there are is ways of understanding that I'm getting closer. And so, for example, what we know is that walking on a spiritual path takes us away from, farther from, ignorance, darkness, right? When we pray, "Oh Lord, lead us," right? Asatoma sadgamaya. Lead us from untruth to truth. Tamasoma jyotirgamaya. From darkness to light. Mrityordma amritam gamaya. From death to immortality. Well, so there's the path. We are walking from darkness to light, from untruth to truth, from death to immortality. And of course, it's not about reverse aging. It's not about some cream or bottle or tonic or capsule or something like that. It's not even about some magic feat that's going to make your body live forever. It's about a shift in awareness from the self who is mortal, the self who is dying. All of us are dying. Regardless of how old you are, we're dying. Every moment we are a moment closer to death. That is a given. For some it may come quickly, for some it may be many, many decades away, but either way we are all dying in the body. And so death to immortality is about a shift in identification from that which is dying to that which was never born and will never die. And so to know you're on the right path is to ask yourself every day, is there more light? Is there more truth? And that's how you know. And there's very specific even indicators. You know, in the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna asks Krishna, what is a yogi like? What's a wise man like? What's the enlightened one like? And Lord Krishna gives him so many beautiful descriptions of what that person is like, that awakened one is like, how balanced they are, how in light they are, how courageous they are, how dharmic they are. I mean, there's all sorts of indicators in our lives. Little things are great indicators. How many times did you lose your temper today? How many times did you say something or do something that you later regretted? Because every time we do that, there's a part of our mind that says, oh, that wasn't me, right? When we say it in different ways, some of us literally say, that wasn't me. Sometimes we say, oh, I didn't mean that. Well, what did you mean? Like, you formed the words. You spoke the words. If it wasn't what you meant, how did it come out like that? Who was speaking if it wasn't what you meant? And what it means, all those times that we say or do something that we later say, oh my God, I don't know what overcame me, it wasn't me, I didn't mean it. What it means is in that moment, I wasn't conscious. In that moment, something other than my highest truth was operating this system of my brain, of my tongue, of my lips, of my hands, of my legs. I was not conscious. So a very good marker of how you're doing on the path, is it the right path, is are you getting more conscious? Are there fewer moments in the day that you think, oh, shouldn't have said that, shouldn't have done that? Are there fewer things you regret? Another really good marker is, are there fewer things about other people that annoy you? At least on a deep level. Are there fewer things in the world based on how other people act and speak that make you really upset inside? Because the more times I can't sleep, I can't eat, I can't be calm because of what someone else said or did, the less grounded in truth and light I am. The more identified with this temporary physical experience I am than with the eternal being. How many times do you ask yourself, as Puja Swamiji would say, what for me rather than what through me? So what are the questions that you ask the world or God? Are we always wondering what's in it for me? Or are we asking ourselves what can happen through me? And these are the markers on the path of knowing that it's right. If you're getting more and more in darkness. Because tragically, even if you think you're walking a spiritual path, it's not like the ego says, oh, you've decided to go spiritual? Okay, I'll just find someone else to bother. No problem. Nice knowing you. I'm out of here. The ego's still there. It's still playing its games. And when you say, now I'm walking the spiritual path, so the ego becomes the one who says that which you want to hear on the spiritual path. And so it tends to go one of two ways. Either the ego starts saying, we are so good. I'm so good. I'm so enlightened. I'm way more enlightened than this guy next to me. Way more enlightened than the lady in front of me. Wait, look, I'm so enlightened. I'm so humble. I'm definitely the most humble person in this room. So that's one way the ego goes. The other way the ego goes is we earnestly embark on the path. We commit to meditation. We commit to being transmitters of love and peace. And then our mind wanders. And we find ourselves 20 minutes later in Paris or London when we were supposed to be meditating, or we fall asleep, or we are overcome with boredom or sexual desire or whatever it may be. And the mind goes, see, you are useless. Told you would never be anything. You can't even meditate. Look at this. You are the only one. Everybody else is meditating so nicely. You are the only one sitting here thinking about pizza. You are worthless. You are stupid. You will never get anywhere. Or some variation thereof. So just because we've embarked on a spiritual path doesn't mean that the darkness throws in the towel or the ego throws in the towel. It's still there. We have to be really vigilant about it. So you're walking the right path when you're also aware of the games that the ego plays. And you notice them. And you bring them also into your awareness. And so it looks something like some variation of sound of a bird. Awareness on the breath, awareness on the breath. Smell of toast, awareness on the breath. Or my mantra, back in my meditation, awareness on the breath. You're stupid. Awareness on my breath. Awareness on my breath, my mantra. I want a muffin. Awareness on my breath, my mantra. So it's not that I push it away or yell at it or try to argue with it or debate it. But just like the sound of a bird has entered my awareness, and I bring the awareness back to the breath, back to the mantra. And the smell of something enters my awareness, but I bring it back. In the same way, one of these thoughts comes. But just as I don't hook my awareness into the sound of the bird or into the smell of the toast and lose my meditation, in the same way I don't hook it into that tape that's playing over and over and over again in our minds. So when you can do that, you're on the right path. And if you find that you can do it more this week than last week, you're on the right path. It's not an automatic or immediate thing. It doesn't happen overnight. We didn't get these patterns overnight. But slowly, 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 we rewire ourselves. We rewire how the brain works, how the thought patterns work, how the nervous system works. And we change. Before taking any of the other questions in advance, does anyone here have any questions? Yes, I can see your hand, but not your face. You come, yes.
So I want to know, how do we get rid of this concept called FOMO, fear of missing out?
Okay.
So we want to do so many things. I want to do hundreds of things in this lifetime.
Yeah.
So my mind constantly wanders here, there, and yeah.
So how do we get rid of FOMO, which stands for fear of missing out? It's so interesting. We keep creating more and more illnesses. By the grace of science and some very smart people, we managed to eradicate most of what killed people 100 years ago. And yet we find ourselves still besieged with illness. May not be that which you get from bad water or a mosquito, but nonetheless, we are certainly not living in more of a state of ease and peace and internal health. Even if our lifespan has increased, our internal health hasn't. And so, voila, FOMO. We now have fear of missing out. It used to be fear of the plague, or fear of, tigers, or warring tribes, or somebody, running off with my house, or my wife, or now, phobias of missing out. There was another one a few years ago that I heard about on a plane, actually, in the magazine, where they have these vocabulary tests. I was reading the vocabulary test in the magazine on a plane a few years ago, and the word was nomophobia. And these quizzes, by the way, are real. They're not jokes. They're things to pass the time, but they're real. And I thought, well, all right, I'm a psychology student. I know what phobia means. It's paralyzing fear. But of course, all of the multiple choice options were all paralyzing fear of this or paralyzing fear of that. So it turns out the answer was, and this true new illness that at that point had just entered the official English language dictionaries, was fear of being without a working mobile phone. No mo, as in no mobile, phobia, fear of I don't have my phone. And in the description that they gave, it said that there were two main ways that that came about. Either my batteries were dying. This was in the days before the battery packs that everybody had. Or I just didn't actually have my phone with me. And so now we also have another new illness, fear of missing out. It's a product of a couple of different things. But it's primarily a product of this myth of scarcity. There is a pervasive myth that we are indoctrinated into in our culture of lack. Now, we feel it in ourselves. If I said, raise your hand, if you think that you are smart enough, successful enough, beautiful enough, spiritual enough, achieving enough, raise your hand if you think you are all of those things. Be honest. Great. 1.5. So this is a pervasive epidemic. Because we feel it in ourselves, our culture and marketing has grabbed onto this psychological aspect of us and has used it to its advantage. And so if I want to sell you something, I'm going to convince you that what I have to sell you is going to make you feel like you are enough. With this handbag or mobile or car or vacation or certification or retreat or whatever it may be, you will feel enough. You will be as beautiful and free and wonderful as the people in my print ad or commercial or billboard seem to be. And because over the last many years, advertising has become something that was not just commercials on TV that we watched maybe an hour a day with our family in the evening, or billboards that we saw once every 500 feet as we drove down a road. But now advertising it's constant. I don't even know what the latest statistics are of how many ads most of us see every day. But it's constant. Check your email, ads. Go on social media, ads. Whatever you are doing, ads. And of course, it's become amazingly insidious because they know exactly which area you feel not enough in. So should you go on Amazon and purchase exercise equipment, what are you going to see ads for? Being thin, right? Thin is beautiful. Suddenly, all the ads you're going to get are for products and potions and things to make you fit and beautiful and thin because it knows you must have just made a resolution to get in shape. If you are searching for or you purchase some skin lotion, some moisturizing cream, suddenly what are you going to get besieged with? Age reversal, always young, whitening, fairness, beautiful, this, that, right? So it's actually become even more insidious because it knows exactly where you don't think you're enough. and it plays exactly to that. Joinmatch.com, every ad you're going to see is for how you have to be beautiful for your future spouse, how you have to be more successful and richer for your future spouse. So it's turning us not only into very in debt and frustrated consumers, but it's turning us much more neurotic, because everywhere we look, that which I already was feeling a little bit on the inside, I can't escape it now. I can't check my email or go on to Facebook or Instagram or even Google searching for something else without seeing ads for all of that, which I'm already worried about. And so it's no wonder that we have this fear of not enoughness. I'm going to miss out on something. And that's something I need to be full. And so the only way to combat that is to realize you're already full. You already are whole. It's not about what you achieve. It's not about what you look like. And that doesn't mean you can't buy what you want. But it means that there is nothing you need to be whole. If your skin is dry, buy cream. Who cares? If you want to get in shape, buy exercise equipment. Fantastic. But not because there is something lacking in you. Not because there is some place that you are not whole enough. And that's where our spiritual practice is the key. Because we all feel on some level not good enough. Whether on a very basic, not pretty enough, or on a spiritual, not pure enough, not divine enough. So until we really experience that presence of the divine within us, it's not that I, in my small self, am infinite. It's that the core of who I am is divine, and divine is infinite. And so when I touch that divinity within myself, I touch the infinity within myself. And I touch that which is everything. The last piece of that is the other really important way to combat that fear of missing out is simple clarity. Figure out what are your priorities. Because you're going to constantly be inundated with marketers trying to tell you what your priorities should be. And again, they'll do it even under the guise of spirituality. So if you decide my goal is spirituality, you're going to get ads for this course and that course and this thing. It knows how to get you. And so you need to be really clear about what are my priorities. And if it's spirituality, what exactly am I looking for? Do I need to necessarily do a course to get it? Or do I need to simply carve out half an hour of my day to sit and meditate? Because most of us don't have that much free time. And we've been also really indoctrinated to think that on a spiritual level, we also are not enough. Oh, you want to know your true self? Buy my course. Make sure that you've actually got time to go within, because the true self is you. And yes, the role of a guru is, I would say, essential for the vast, overwhelming majority of us. But that's because the guru directs you in, not out. The guru is sending you into the light of you. The marketers, those where the main agenda is their pockets much more than your awakening, are going to direct you toward them rather than toward you. So it's all about, look at how light I am, rather than find the light in you. Look at how light you are. Look at how whole you are. And so you need to really call back that control. Call back the priorities. What is it that's important to me? And then do those things. And yeah, you're going to miss out on some things. We're missing out being at the casino right now. Right now, there are people playing the slot machines. We are missing out. There are people in parties getting drunk, doing drugs, doing all sorts of things. We are missing out by sitting right here in satsang. But there's no fear of that, because that's not our priority. There's no sense of, oh God, I wish I were, because that's not our priority. In the same way, if you're clear about your priorities, there's all sorts of things going on that we're missing out on. But you cannot simultaneously be in satsang in Rishikesh and playing the slot machines in Las Vegas and partying in Paris. You have to choose. And you choose based on what your priority is. And then you're clear. And yeah, your Facebook feed may be full of people saying, slot machines, they're great. This party, this whiskey, it's great. But if you're clear, it's not going to impact you. It's not going to make you feel like, I'm missing out on that. Because you're going to understand what your priorities are, what you're looking for. And so that fear will dissipate. And it's, by the way, essential that we work with this, because otherwise, not only do we become fearful, dissatisfied, neurotic, but we also find ourselves becoming very much in debt. Because we end up buying things and spending money on things that we would not otherwise do, because someone with some very good algorithm managed to sell us something that fit exactly with what I was struggling with. And so I've bought it. And so with respect for the money in our accounts, with respect for our mental peace, with respect for our strength and clarity to walk the path that we want to walk, we have to be clear. And then that fear will dissipate automatically. Have a beautiful rest of your evening, and we'll see you all tomorrow.